Yeah, yeah.
Clarify.
I've met him a couple times. Yeah,
Check him on Raw.
Exactly.
Oh, wait.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. That's funny.
He always gets them going on traffic circles.
Oh yeah, I got a little traffic signals.
We're ready anytime, Mr. Chair. Have the sound
Waiting
going.
for a couple seconds still.
Oh.
Oh. High-tech stuff you got here. Now that says 3:59, and that says 5 o'clock. So you got a little.
Over here, we are at 2:59, 5 o'clock, and 5 o'clock.
That all being said, that's
Yes, that's the
seems
Public
like
Works Director.
more
We-
of a staff meeting issue. Good afternoon, everybody. I will call to order the Traffic Commission for City of Bowling Green for Wednesday, March 26th. Kelly, if you'd please call the roll.
Beaverson,
Here.
Coverly,
Present.
Durham,
Here.
Emmerich,
Here.
Gray,
Present.
Hedrick,
Here.
Mormon,
Yeah.
Strange,
Here.
and then Weekman.
And I hate to interrupt, but we will ask that you please speak into the microphones. That's how we do the minutes. And they do better when you put them up towards your mouth a little bit like this. Thank you.
No, thank you. That being said, I hope everyone had an opportunity to review the packet that was sent out by Ms. Treader. I have before me the minutes from the September 25th, 2024 meeting. I would entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion, comments, or corrections on the minutes? Hearing none, I would entertain a vote on the Traffic Commission meeting minutes from September 25th. All in favor of approving those, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Wonderful. New business. We have a request for removal of parking on Frazee Avenue between North Prospect and North Summit. Lori, does the staff have a report on that they could present to us?
We do. We asked for feedback from our police, fire, and public works divisions. The police had no concerns either way, either with leaving the parking or removing the parking. The fire division noted that this is a narrow street with an approximate 16-foot width. They noted that when you put a parked vehicle there, it's average around 6 feet, that only leaves about 12 feet for their engines to navigate. And note that an average fire vehicle is about 10 foot in width, meaning that's not a lot of extra room for them to navigate down the area. Chief Mormon noted that they have, of course, navigated this area for years. However, there have been times when they've needed to get off the road on the opposite side to avoid a parked car, and that could result in damage to the grass. The fire division prefers no parking in this block, but does understand the impacts on the neighborhood. Our Public Works Division noted that the issue of parked cars is not frequent when they are picking up refuse and recycling. However, it has occurred at times. And similar to the Fire Division, this does cause maneuvering challenges for them. It requires them to cheat on the other side, and sometimes their vehicles then hit branches from the trees on the other side of the street. We do want to note that in some areas, including even on Frazee, where we have prohibited parking, sometimes some stone areas right off the street have developed. That was done way in the past. The city does not allow or encourage that now. So that is something we would want to note in looking at this area of Frazee, is to not have that happen where that would go into the yards. And that completes the staff report.
Thank you. I see that Mr. Sockman is here, and he is the petitioner. Would you like to make a statement or talk to us a little bit about your proposal?
Yes, my name's Jay Sockman, 219 Frazee. I personally would not like any parking on there for safety for the if there's a car parked there. The fire trucks, I think it's going to be tight, especially with I have a tree in my front yard, and if when my neighbors park there, the UPS trucks or whatever, they whack that tree pretty good. Now, if you decide not to leave, and pretty much every house has a driveway on that street, so they can park in the driveway. If you decide not to or continue parking, I would ask, since the house on Prospect and Frazee on the south side, it's become a rental unit, and what happens is on weekends, they have friends coming over. Even though we allowed them to expand their driveway, they still park right there on the curb, or right there on the corner. So when you, if there's 2 or 3 cars, I don't know if any of my pictures came through. Did you send any of my pictures in when I handed pictures in with my thing?
I don't recall.
I didn't get any.
I didn't see.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't recall getting.
Is that 825 you're talking about, 825, that address? That's on the corner on
Seeing,
the
I'm
south.
seeing a nodding of a head in our gallery. 825
Thank you.
Frazee or 825 Prospect?
Prospect.
Okay.
Here's the. Here's some of the. Can we take it? Talking about it. So then you can't make the turn on Frazee if there's another car at the stop sign. So it could be a no parking from here to corner. Plus my neighbor. My other neighbor that's beside me, he won't be able to back out of his driveway without crunching into those cars. Yeah, I sent a bunch of photos.
I got
of
it.
my-
I could just have a map, so.
Oh, here's just some cars that are right there.
And that's in the second block of Frazee, the photos
Second
you just
block.
showed us.
And the other problem, I know I didn't, on the third block, at times, on the north side, people park there. And I think no parking sign should be posted on that north side.
Yeah.
But that's just my opinion. That's all I have.
Jay, if you don't mind,
Yes.
please.
Yes.
So this affects approximately how many houses or how many residents, full-time residents there?
Well, 3 houses on the north side and 4 on the south side.
Yeah, I thought it looked like about 6 when I drove it. So.
Yeah.
And I also, there's an alleyway that goes back behind the houses on the south side.
On the south side, correct.
And when I drove that, they do park in there, correct?
I have no
Well,
idea.
I noticed that today.
Yeah, they might.
Okay.
Have you chatted with any of your other neighbors, Mr. Sockman?
I chatted with the one, he's a renter, but yeah, he didn't have a problem with it. And I mentioned it to Mr. Reif, I believe, which lives on the south, closest to Summit, south side. And, you know, he always parks in his driveway or on North Summit. But, yeah. I don't.
Property
Really,
owners were notified. We just want to note that they were all sent letters. So whether you talk to them or not, they
Right.
did all get
Yeah.
notice.
If they would have had an issue, they may have gotten back to us, I
Right.
guess. Or
yeah, so 2 of the houses are renters, and the other one are permanent residents, I believe.
Would it be fair to assume that if anyone had any concerns or complaints about removing the parking, they probably would have notified us?
Yeah, he lives on across the street from me.
Okay.
So I'm sure he will say something.
So,
Any other questions for me?
well,
I'm sorry.
I don't have any more. Does anyone have any more for Mr. Sockman?
I was just going to say, I noticed on the first block off of Main Street, everybody's taking the liberty on the south side to park in the right of way. They put on stoned area or homemade, you know, a lot of them use stone. They park there in the right of way.
That's
But on Jay's block, there's none of that. So the fire truck can get down the first block because everybody's parked either in their driveway or in those stoned areas. but the only place to go is the grass.
Seems- One second, yeah. Am I to understand whether, one of our chiefs, is there parking allowed on both the north and south side of that street? Or is it posted no parking on one of the sides?
The north side,
North side's posted no parking.
no parking. Yep.
Okay. Sir, step up and tell us who you are and where you live, please.
Sure, sir. My name is Joseph Hyam. I live at 216 Frazee. Hearing his concerns, also the concerns about the fire department with the tree, I agree. These are all valid concerns. However, I do disagree with making that no parking. One, I can't park on the grass whatsoever. I've actually gotten a ticket about 2 years ago for parking on the grass. So there is no parking on the grass, and my tire was only an inch onto the grass. So that is not an option. I can't put gravel down. The city will not allow me.
Right.
All those properties further to the west are all
It's on the first
grandfathered
block.
in. Yes, they're all grandfathered in. Now, I only have a single driveway. I currently have 2 teenagers, my 18-year-old son and 16-year-old daughter. So we have right now 3 vehicles, single driveway. I wake up at 5 a.m. to go into work for the Ohio National Guard at Camp Perry. My son, being 18, he leaves for boot camp in about 3 months. He stays out late. And so he parks on the street to make sure that he doesn't block his old man in. So parking there, it becomes very difficult if we're not allowed to park there. Now, as far as the fire engine with that tree, I will mention that tree is in between the sidewalk and the road, which, if I remember right, is city property. So that tree should be the responsibility of the city. And that thing is hanging way into the street sometimes of the year. So this is probably more of a poor choice in tree selection on the street and placement than a huge hazard. And not to mention, this is Bowling Green. There's parking on the street everywhere. So fire engines are going to have a problem no matter where they go. Now, I agree, absolutely. Parking on the street in parts of this town is frustrating, absolutely frustrating trying to get down Prospect some days. However, doing it this way, where we cherry pick streets one at a time, hoping that neighbors that disagree with this do not check their mail or don't come to meetings like this, is probably not the fair way to come to a solution on this. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, you have a question?
How about, do people use the alley and the garages behind that second block, and the first block have that alley
Yeah.
with garages? Now,
Yes.
is that an option for parking?
Yes, and actually I've explored this option with the city to get the permit to build. However, my quote was $8,000 to put down a parking pad for two vehicles. I still plan on doing it eventually. I just, with the deployment coming up, I don't have the time nor the funds right now to put in a parking pad just to park my car while my son is still here for a few more months. So, yeah.
Or other people, though,
Oh, yes.
they're using the alley and the garages?
Yes, John, who lives to my west, has a single car garage connected to that alley. And I'm not sure the gentleman's name behind me and to the east. He has a huge 2-car garage. All those were there when the properties were built. City has been reluctant to allow me to even think about putting a garage there because of how narrow the property is, and both my neighbors have garages already. So trying to build something, I run into ordinances about building next to already established buildings. So not a lot of options. Like I said, I will completely comply and agree with the law, whichever way we go. It's just an inconvenience with not much gain. When most of this problem is due to the house that's on the corner on Prospect. They do park on the grass. I've not seen them ticketed, not seen them towed. They also park within 5 feet of the intersection, where anyone coming west on Frazee stopped at the stop sign, no one can turn onto that street. And then you get this bottleneck situation where someone's at the west side of Frazee trying to turn out, someone is on Prospect trying to turn in left onto Frazee, and no one can go anywhere because of a parked car. This is a problem, but it can be remedied by enforcing the already laws that we have on the books. I'm pretty sure, already established, can't park on the grass. You also can't park so close to an intersection where it impedes all traffic in the area. So this can be solved, most of the problems, by just enforcing the existing laws. So that's everything I'd like to share with you. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate your comments. Anyone else have any comments on the issue? I mean, from our lobby before we open it up. Hearing none. What are the thoughts? What are the thoughts?
I have
of our,
one more question, and
Yep.
and it's actually to the police chief. What is the distance to legally park to an intersection?
I'm not 100% certain on that. Mick, do you have that figure? It's the apex angles.
I think it's 15 feet, I believe.
Okay.
I can't say it with 100%.
Yeah, no, I'm not 100% certain, but I believe it's 15. I believe it's 15 feet.
if you can't park within 15 feet of an intersection?
Correct.
So the other question, Jay, would if that was enforced, would that solve your problem?
It would solve a lot of it. And that was, I understand he's single driveway, kids. I got kids and I shuffle cars too because, wife wants to get out of the thing. You got to move cars around. It's a hassle. But what really brought this on is because that house is parking Friday nights, Saturdays, 3 or 4 cars.
It's a rental, right?
It's a rental.
Yeah.
And it's actually sometimes they park in front of your house too.
Well, I do want to say that rental is not a dirty word. But
No, it's not.
We've
But,
said that a couple times.
I've called the police on them because, they park like half on the grass, half on the road. But the whole no parking from here to corner, like I said, if you don't do the whole parking street, I would like to see it actually almost all the way up to his house because that other neighbor of mine, if he'd be back, his driveway's right there. So he'd back right into a car. I mean, it would be like crazy unhandy trying to get out of his house. So, he doesn't block my driveway at all. And, I've seen him at 5 o'clock in the morning shuffling cars. So, I totally understand that. It's just the first little section, but, whatever you guys decide, it is what it is.
Okay, thank you. Yes, you may.
So when it comes to what he was talking about, his western neighbor is actually my wife's boss. We talk a lot, and he wanted me to communicate to you.
Excuse me, his name?
James.
Because we have a number of letters that went
Yeah.
out, and I want to.
It'd be James. He also goes by Jim.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. His wife actually hit one of these cars. Yes, that happened a few months ago. She had the kids in the van trying to get them out, and that house had a good 3 or 4 cars, and they were parked all the way from Prospect almost to my property line. So that's my neighbor John to the west, and then their entire property to the intersection lined up. And yeah, she was backing out of her driveway and hit one of the cars, and of course knocked on doors, left a note on their window because no one would answer. And to this day, I'm not sure if anyone has contacted her on this. Correct, it is absolutely a problem, but it's mostly that house. And like I said, it's mostly within 15 to 20 feet of that intersection. So I think a lot of our problems on this street can be solved just by enforcing the laws that we have. The second I got a ticket for parking on the grass, I make sure I'm totally on the road. So
Can I ask how long ago
Yeah.
that was?
What's that?
When you got that, do you remember how long ago that was?
I want to say about a month. About a month ago. The accident.
No,
No, parking
when you
on the
got
grass.
Oh.
citation for parking on the grass.
Well over a year ago. Well
'Cause
over.
we
a
haven't
year.
really issued those for quite a while. That's
It has been a while. It was after 2020. I remember that because it was after my deployment. But it's 2 to 1 years. They did try and call me and contact me before they gave me a ticket, so that was nice. I didn't answer the phone. I was busy at the time, so and I totally understand. And I paid the ticket and never did that again. So I'm thinking, whereas that neighbor's house on the corner, I saw them with a Subaru. Half of the car was on the grass, 5 feet from the intersection, just 3 nights ago. So, yeah.
Well, the reason I bring it up is that we received guidance from our legal department on that, and the act of placing a vehicle on the grass is not necessarily a violation of the parking on a hard dustless surface.
Okay.
So if you do it temporarily, it's when you use it continually where it causes ruts and damage to the grass, that is
Okay.
when it's citable, because then you're using it as a parking area. But to bring your car onto the grass to wash it or to unload or something like that, and is not considered a violation
Okay.
under the guidance we've received. So
Okay.
I don't know what the particular circumstance of that was, but it sounds like these people it's not just parking on the grass that's the problem. It's
Yeah.
parking within the confines of the
Yes,
the
because even
intersection
with
and too
that-
close and
Yeah.
things and so
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify that for you.
Thank you. But even with that car being halfway off the grass because of how close they were to the intersection and how narrow the
problem.
road is, once again, if anyone's at that stop sign trying to turn on the Prospect, no one can turn onto that street, and it bottlenecks and becomes a problem. So, and like I've said, with my neighbor trying to pull out of her driveway, I'm sure John has the same problem trying to back out of his driveway. It does become a problem, but I'm pretty sure there's a law about not blocking someone's driveway
Yeah,
as
that's
well.
4 feet. You can't park within 4 feet of a driveway.
I know for a fact they've broken that multiple times with John's driveway. So, yeah.
Okay.
How far to the east of the intersection is your house?
I am smack
Approximately.
dab right in the middle of
Of the
Frazee.
block, okay.
Yeah, right in the middle.
Okay.
That's between Prospect and Summit, right?
Yes.
And you're on the south side?
Correct.
Because it appears it's 30 feet cannot park 30 feet from an intersection. So,
Okay. Good to know. Thank you.
And we originally thought that was 15, now we're to 30?
correct.
Got it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Other conversation? We can start down at the end. Chief Hetrick, you have anything else you want to add?
I do not.
Chief Mormon,
I do not.
Rick Beaverson?
I do know that when we've taken our snowplows through and stuff, it has been tight and everything, but we're normally able to maneuver around the vehicles by positioning our blades and stuff as we go down through there. So,
Okay, Howard?
The only thing I'm not bad mouthing. I've been in the rental business 53 years, but I know when on Friday and Saturday night when the kids show up, signs are
no consequence to them.
Yeah, I agree. Lindsay?
I am curious to hear more from Chief Mormon about how it affects the fire trucks.
So when vehicles are parked on the south side of the road in particular, where that's the only place they can park, if we have to go down that section of road and there is a vehicle parked there, we have to move over closer to the north section, which is where those trees are. I mean, if there's city trees, they can that problem could be possibly eliminated by trimming those trees. It's been a long time problem for us. But as I mentioned to my response back to Ms. Treader, I understand the impact by removing that parking to the people that have to utilise it, have multiple cars. I guess I actually have a question. You said it's 30 feet now, Rick?
Correct.
I'm wondering if there could be a possibility, and I'm not sure if this is the right time to introduce this, Doug, so please correct me if it's not. Could we do a phased-in approach to this? Possibly try to enforce that 30 foot from each side, see if that alleviates the problem, and then if it doesn't, then we'll consider further about removing the parking.
Certainly, we can discuss that. Yeah.
Is there signage now at all? So
No signage.
would you consider putting the sign up first as a part of the, ramp up? Put a sign up there that's, I guess they don't pay attention, but you can call.
I know it's
police and
probably, I know, as indicated by Mr. Sockman, there is no curb there to paint the curb, but I have seen throughout the city signs, no parking between here and the corner.
No parking here at the corner.
Yeah. Tim, do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, I guess my main concern is basically either the fire truck does have a hard time and it is a safety risk, or not. And I think I'm hearing that it is, if they've only got 12 feet of clearance and there's only 10 feet. And to me, safety is pretty much the paramount issue. I totally understand the parking. I get that. I understand. But to me, basically, safety is paramount. So I would basically be inclined to follow the chief's recommendation.
Okay. So sort of my thoughts on the issue is knowing that now that it is 30 feet from the corner, that you can't park within that area. I do like the idea of, before I do that, I would entertain any motion based on Mr. Sockman's request, which to limit the remove parking, all parking on the second block of Frazee. I would entertain a motion if someone wanted to make that.
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. So discussion on the motion that we have, which is the motion is for the removal of all parking in the second block of Frazee, which would be to clarify between Prospect and Summit.
Correct.
Is that accurate? Okay. Discussion on this specific motion.
I agree with Tim. I think safety is really what's leading my decision-making here. And with there only being 2 free feet on each side, or total, I think, 1 foot on each side. And I think trucks are only going to be getting bigger from here on out. That kind of worries me, so I'm kind of leaning towards the no parking.
Further discussion?
If there was no parking on the street, I know I'm on Crim, so everybody parks in front all the time.
Yeah.
So I know what that's about, and we discussed years ago the possibility of when that was, we talked about eliminating some parking there, possibility of doing permit only, and I don't know if that's even rational to do. It would, if you didn't have parking and had a permit only for your son, it might be a temporary thing, but permit only. I don't think there's probably any streets in BG that has a permit only. Chief, anybody?
There is not. Only in designated city parking areas, there's permit areas. Lots 1, 2, 3, 4, M, and the other 2, but not on any residential street. There is no parking by permit
Is that
only.
opening a can of worms to you?
I would say so, yes.
All right.
Because before long, you'd have people wanting and requesting spaces in front of their houses be permit only for them only, and that's not how it's designed.
Yeah.
Further discussion? Yes, sir.
Jay, can I ask a question of you? How far down is your drive from that corner? What I'm trying to get at is, could we take and make a resolution here tonight to vote on extending the no parking by 150 feet to the corner?
Let me see if I got a picture.
Yeah, I apologize, we don't have the map available.
So, I'm sorry. So the neighbor he's talking about over here, there's the edge of one driveway, which is next to him. And his edge is probably right where that car is. So the best thing, if you're doing the no parking, I would say do it on the other side of John's driveway there. I mean, that way there'd be no cars parking from his driveway to the corner. I don't know if that's 150 feet. I don't know if you guys want to see that.
Yeah, that might be helpful for me. No, that's right.
So that's the driveway I'm talking about. That's the corner.
Okay.
And his other driveway is probably right where this car is. He'd back right into.
One of these two cars would have been in
Right. His driveway is right on the other side of those two cars. And then there's a driveway here. So the corners from here to there would be.
I'd be interested, Joe,
Yes.
can you come up here and take a look at the photo that Jay has here? And where is your property in
His
relationship?
property's right here where these cars are actually parked in
Yes,
front of.
mine is, that's the start of my property right there.
216?
Where that tree is. Yes, 216.
And this is a tree that is in my yard.
Okay.
And-
So you, if this was available, this wouldn't be where your family would park. Your family would park further to the east. Got it.
Usually from where this white car is up.
Got it.
And here's my other issue is, that's the driveway, and there's another driveway where these cars would back into. Problem is, when you're gonna make those cars, or do that no parking to if you do it to that driveway, they're just gonna start parking in front of his house. I'm just throwing that out. I mean, that's just what's gonna happen. But, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they could park on Prospect, but that all gets filled up.
Yeah.
But you got a busy night at the bars. I mean,
Yeah.
people are walking from Frazee all the way down there. It's crazy.
Okay. Thank you. I guess my thoughts on it, I'm not overly comfortable with declaring that whole second block a no parking zone. I think there are some enforcement issues that could be looked at. I am a big fan of a sign that would be posted to indicate no parking between here and the corner. I like the idea of seeing how that would work. But that's, I mean, here again, that's just me. The motion is to remove all parking on the south side of Frazee in that second block between Prospect and Summit. So we have to decide on our motion, or go ahead. You have something further?
Well, I was just gonna, would that be both, if you do this no parking, would that be both Summit and Prospect?
I think the motion was simply to limit that parking on Frazee.
between Prospect and Summit.
Well, I mean, what the chief's talking about. The fire chief, he's saying post it, no parking on those, both intersections, on the corners, and see if it, how it, enforce it, and then come back. If it doesn't work out, to come back for this and work on this motion.
Well, the motion's before us, so we're going to need to vote on the motion. If the motion passes, then we've done our duty. If it does not pass, then we could entertain additional discussion on maybe I don't want to call it a short-term fix, but a compromise to monitor how that is, and then maybe some additional conversation with Chief Hetrick regarding enforcement in that area. Hearing none, I guess I'll call the question. The motion before us is to remove all parking on the south side of Frazee between Prospect and Summit. There having been motion and is properly seconded, I would ask Kelly to call the roll.
Okay.
Let me clarify. An affirmative vote on this would be you are requesting or you're voting in favor of the parking being removed. Just to clarify that.
Thank you for that
Okay.
Okay.
Kelly?
Beaverson.
Affirmative.
Okay. Cubberly.
No.
Durham.
Yes.
Emrich.
Yes.
Gray.
Yes?
Hedrick.
Yes.
Mormon.
Yes.
Strange.
Yes.
Okay.
The motion passes 7-1. So I assume that there'll be something posted at some point through Public Works.
Yeah, it'll probably be a week or so out by the time we get oops called in and that kind of stuff. And then we will get some signage put up.
Okay. Sir, if you get another ticket for parking on the grass, I would suggest that you use all those avenues available to you to contest it or whatever it might be. I am very appreciative of your concerns and your testimony. And Mr. Sockman, appreciate that. That is the only thing I have under new business unless somebody else has something that they want to bring. I do have one thing I want to bring, but that's afterwards. So, anybody? Well, speaking of enforcement, if I could take privilege and hope that the police department would keep an eye on the corner of Pike and Enterprise, which is another rental unit. It is posted no parking 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, but that's not the case. So maybe just a little extra patrol in the area, or however. I don't know if you've received complaints about that, Chief.
What were the hours again? It said no parking.
I think it says 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. No parking.
Okay.
And that's just not me. That's some other people that also work in the courthouse area that have. It makes that intersection of Pike and Enterprise going west, a little tricky during the business hours. So.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else for the good of the order that anyone wants to discuss?
I just have a statement I'd like to make, and it is unrelated to any of the parking commissions, except for I just want to say it's been a pleasure working with Tony Hetrick. If you don't know, Tony's going to be retiring here very soon. It's been a pleasure working with you on the Traffic Commission and at the Police Department. I just want to say thank you.
Thank you very much.
I would absolutely second that. I've had the privilege of working with the chief in my prior employment and on this commission, and he's been nothing but professional and a pleasure to work with. So wish you well in your retirement, Chief.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That being said, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I moved to adjourn.
No second.
All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.